When I was 20, I started getting really sick with cirrhosis of the liver. And then it just kept getting worse and worse until I eventually got liver cancer.
That was the worst day of my life.
I should admit, I never heard anybody saying that was a good thing to have cancer. Wait a minute. So you sold your home and invested that in the business. Did you have any background into this business before you got into it?
No background.
I had to go through all these hardships and in a way hit rock bottom, because now I'm able to see like how high I can bounce back. I've dropped 40 pounds since I started the business, so she's very happy about that. If we could get through a liver transplant journey and the death of my brother, why can't we get past starting a business together?
Hello, this is Sam Gopinathan with New Wave Home Care. Welcome to our podcast, Connecting is Caring, where we connect stories from our community and we connect the real people within our community. And today, I'm so happy to introduce and welcome Megan and Xavier with LA Trash Chunkers. You guys are so wonderful. I have been hearing so many stories about you, and I'm so grateful that you're on our podcast. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us, Sam. We're happy to be here.
Let me start with you, Xavier. You are a veteran, and would you like to share with us about your service?
Yeah, I'd be happy to share my journey of joining the Marine Corps. I had always wanted to join the Marines when I was young. I grew up watching the old World War II movies, and I had my army soldiers. Even in high school, I used to walk around with the Eagle Globe and Anchor on my folder. I never had the courage to join the military. Joining the military, it takes a commitment. And the first sacrifice that you do is leaving your friends and your family behind so you can go do your service. I didn't join right out of high school, and it was actually my brother Gabriel who ended up joining the military first. And I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and Gabriel was the second oldest. And so in 2005, my brother Gabriel, he ended up joining the Army, and he joined as a combat medic. And then in 2006, he deployed to Iraq. And then unfortunately, on April 3rd, 2007, he was killed in action in Iraq.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
That was the worst day of my life. Like, the old Xavier was gone. I was only about 21 and a half when he passed. What really kind of drove me to join the Marine Corps at that point was that I wanted to see what he had gone through. During his short time in the service with the Army, the following year on November 3rd, 2008, I was on the Yellow Footprints in Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego. And so, I ended up joining, and I signed up as a F-18 mechanic. I needed the discipline from the Marine Corps. I actually ended up excelling in the Marine Corps. I was meritoriously promoted twice. Once meritoriously in boot camp, I picked up the rank of private first class, and then I was meritoriously promoted to the rank of corporal once I had hit the
That's
fleet.
So wonderful.
Thank you. And then I even won a Marine of the Quarter as well.
Wow.
And I ended up with my own parking
That's
spot.
not easy.
Yeah, I ended up with my own parking spot at the commissary, so that was nice. Didn't have to walk too far. But I did 2 deployments to Iwakuni, Japan. And during that time, I ended up becoming the day crew supervisor. So I was in charge of 13 F-18s, 13 Marines. I even received the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal for my service during my second deployment.
Wow.
And it was fun, and it was.
So how long were you there with the Marines?
I did 5 years in the Marine Corps.
5 years. Wow.
Yeah. So I signed up, and I ended up getting stationed in Miramar. So it was only like 2 hours away. But that was perfect because during that time, me and Megan were dating. And so every weekend I would drive up from San Diego to here at Ballwood Park, and we would hang out for a couple hours. And Sunday night I would drive back, and we did that for about 2 years, I think.
Yes, 2 years.
Before I forget, thank you for your service. And how did you both meet?
We met in high school. Well, I like
Wow,
to say,
high school sweethearts.
Yeah, I went to high school. Xavier sometimes went to high school when he felt like it. Yeah.
That's very important sometimes, right?
Yeah. So we met in high school at a party. We were just friends for a while, and then it wasn't until he was in the Marine Corps that we got together.
She liked how I looked in the blue suit.
Got to admit, that is very impressive, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Very nice. So when did you get married?
We got married in 2011. We were together for 2 years, and we got married in 2011. And I moved back. I moved with him to San Diego, and we started our life together then.
And Megan, you had some health issues. You want to share us about your...
Yes. I was born with a liver disease called biliary atresia. And I was doing okay for the majority of my life until I was 20. And then when I was 20, I started getting really sick with cirrhosis of the liver.
Oh, wow.
And then it just kept getting worse and worse until I eventually got liver cancer. But that ended up being a good thing for me because it actually put me higher up in the list of the liver transplant.
I should admit, I never heard anybody saying that it was a good thing to have cancer.
Yes, that's the way the doctor explained it to me. He said it's scary, but for you, it's actually a good thing because you go higher on the liver transplant list. And at that time, I had already been waiting 8 years
Oh, wow.
in Los Angeles for the list. And I got to a point where I got a little too sick to be waiting. So I got sent to Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, to Mayo Clinic. Me and my mom went with me. She was my caregiver. And I waited there for 7 months. And then
After your liver transplant, or you waited?
I waited at the hospital for my liver, for a liver transplant. I waited 7 months and I got the call that a liver was waiting for me at the Mayo Clinic, Jacksonville, Florida. And I finally got my liver. So
Oh, wow.
after 8 years and 7 months, I got my liver.
So after your surgery, how long did you have to stay in Florida?
I stood there for about 3 or 4 months, and then I finally got to come home, and it's been 9 years, and I've been healthy ever since.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yes, it's been such a difference.
It makes a huge difference. Yeah. So how did you get to the point where you started LA Trash Junkers?
For the longest time, Sam, it was survival for us. I was working with the goal of just maintaining the health insurance. Megan was getting...
This is when Megan was sick, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I got out of the Marines in 2013. The good thing is when we got married in 2011, we fell under the TRICARE insurance. So, I mean, Megan's the strongest person that I know. When we were dating, she was going to school full-time. She was working full-time so she could maintain her health insurance. And all of that while being full-time sick.
Oh, wow.
And so it was great. Once we got married, she was able to come under my umbrella of the insurance. And we didn't have to worry about that, about her care for 2 years. But when I left the Marines in 2013, it was just all about survival. Me working, keeping the health insurance, and just making sure that, we didn't lose it, because if we had lost it, it would have been like horrible. So finally, when she got her transplant, I was working in the aerospace industry. And
so this is after you left Marines, you're working in the aerospace industry?
Yes. Luckily, working on the F-18s, it allowed me to work in the aerospace industry. So I was working as a technician, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I had always wanted to have my own business, and I had attempted to have my own business a couple of times. I sold fried pies for a while at a street fair, and I quickly realized that I wouldn't be able to maintain that business. But Megan saw how unhappy I was, and she let me sell the house, and we used the proceeds to buy the dump truck and start the business.
Wait a minute. So you sold your home and invested that in the business. Did you have any background into this business before you got into it?
No background.
I mean, this is amazing because, it takes so much courage to sell your home and jump into a business. I mean, you're kind of new into the business. You have to tell me more about that. That's quite a decision.
Yeah, he always wanted his own business. Since we were together, his family has their own business, so he's always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I saw how unhappy he was working at those jobs with the bosses that, didn't really treat him fairly. And when it came time to start the business, it wasn't a hard yes for me. It was a very easy yes, because Xavier's just the type of person that once he sees something, he goes full into it. And so I knew that he was going to succeed in whatever he would choose to do.
That's amazing. I mean, quite honestly, I started my own business. This was 16 years back. But I don't know if I would have had the same level of courage as you both did, to sell your home and invest that into a business I know nothing about. I mean, that's a lot of courage. Congratulations to you both. You did the right thing. And now you are doing so well. So congratulations to you both. It's a very tough decision you took back then.
I essentially saw a YouTube video about junk removal, and I thought, I can do that. And
that's how you got the idea.
Yeah.
That was pretty much
amazing.
That was pretty much all of my business planning. And I thought I knew what being a business owner meant. And it turns out I didn't know anything. I thought that owning a business, you would run advertising and you wait for the phone to ring. So the first 8 months, I had a lot of free time. And
waiting for the phone to ring.
But
you know how that works, right?
And I mean, if I had known how difficult it would have been, how difficult this journey would have been, I may not have taken the plunge. So it paid off that I was like a little naive about starting a business.
And it's that's interesting what you said. Many times it's also helpful with a little bit of lack of knowledge about some of the details, at least, because your commitment to get into it, you're less scared of getting into the business. And once you're there, it's sink or swim. And at that point in time, you just do the right thing, and then you make it happen.
Yeah. There was a lot of times where it felt like we were definitely sinking. There was one point where I had about $100 left in the bank account, and then I was telling Megan, like, why did I think I could make this succeed? It was like a dark moment, but having Megan there, she's always been like my pillar, my strength, and I knew that I couldn't let her down, and I just kind of like shook it off and kept pushing forward, and luckily it's worked out.
Wow. So when did you start the LA Trash Yankers?
We started June 1st, 2021. So we're 4.8 years in business.
I mean, I heard first about you through my son, Ash. He and you connected, and he came back to me and said, Dad, you need to meet this guy, Xavier. He's really good. You need to talk to him. That's how we connected the first time. So you did make an impression. I mean, you have the ability to make an impression on other people.
Yeah.
Now, the 4 years, how has the journey been for you?
I'm so grateful for my journey. I've become a person that I kind of always dreamed that I could become this person, but I had to go through all these hardships to become this person. Like during the time that, Megan was going through her health journey, I had started drinking. So I was drinking like every night, and I was just like unhappy. And when we started the business, January 1st, 2022, it's when I made the decision that I needed to focus 100% on the business. And that's when I decided to stop drinking. And so I've been sober since January 1st, 2022. And I had to go through all these hardships and in a way hit rock bottom, because now I'm able to see like how high I can bounce back. I wouldn't be where I'm at today without support of all my networking friends. I discovered networking, and just from meeting people and sharing my story, they've opened up doors and opportunities for me that I didn't know existed. A lot of people say that you bootstrap a business and you're doing it by yourself, but it's not true. It really takes a lot of support to be successful. And I'm just so grateful like for everyone I've met on my journey. And Sam, you've been a great mentor for me, just like your story too, with how you started your business. Like I really appreciate that I had a chance to meet you. And I mean, look, it led to this.
Thank you, Xavier. And Megan, you're also involved in the business on an everyday basis. So you tell me about your journey with LA Trash Tankers.
Yeah, so we used to be on the truck together. I was on the truck with him for.
So you were doing the cleanouts together.
I would do the cleanouts. I'd be on site. It was just us two for the first couple of years doing all the jobs. So one cleanout sometimes would take like 3 days with just us two. And then finally we got to a point where we were able to hire. We have 2 part-time employees
now.
Now I'm just on the phone. I'm an admin, so I get to stay home and be on the phone and off the truck. So it's been a very nice.
That's quite an experience. I'll tell you, one of the things that you will continue to experience as a entrepreneur is as your business improves over a period of time, you had to fire yourself from the jobs you love to do, and you had to find somebody better than you to do that job for you.
Yes.
And so you're on the journey right now. I'm so happy to hear that you're already doing at least some of it.
It's been a very nice journey. I know that when I was on the truck, Xavier was doing the majority of the heavy lifting. So he's very happy now that he has 2 strong men with him.
Well, I've dropped 40 pounds since I started the business, so she's very happy about that.
So it's a win-win situation, right? So to anybody who's starting a new business, what would be your message to them? If you're starting a business, these are the things that you need to do, and this is how you should plan or not plan. What would be your suggestion for them?
I would say just start. Don't try to make a plan. Don't try to be perfect, because a lot of things can go wrong, but you learn that way. You learn by mistakes, and just starting is the hardest part. if we kind of thought about it for too long, I don't think we would have done it.
I mean, that's a really good answer. You know why? A lot of people fall victim to the, I love to call it as analysis and paralysis.
Yes.
Right? I mean, you analyze too much, you never get to the point where you're convinced that, you have thought through it and then everything is fail-proof and things like that. Also, those folks may not be as comfortable dealing with difficult situations. I mean, here you are, you have jumped in with both feet in and you're prepared to take things as they come your way, right? Whereas other people may not be as prepared because, they kind of are risk averse in that sense.
And in a way too, our background story has given us a lot of hardships that we persevered through. So, I mean, if we could get through a liver transplant journey and the death of my brother, why can't we get past starting a business together? And, Megan mentioned that, she's just on the phone now for LA Trash Junkers, but she didn't mention that she started her own business as well. And when we first started the business too, Megan never thought that she would be a business owner. She likes to say that she wasn't exposed to like the entrepreneur pathway, but now she's running the Hodgepodge LA, which is our online thrift store. And we're able to resell items whenever possible.
Tell me more about the Hodgepodge LA. And I know you are supporting charity through the Hodgepodge LA, right?
Yes.
So you want to tell us more about that?
Yes, on the jobs, I noticed that we were getting rid of a lot of good items. New items, perfectly good items, and I wanted to find second homes for them. And then I thought, well, if I resell them, I don't want to just keep the money. I wanted to go towards something good. And Children's Hospital LA, they took care of me from when I was 3 months until I was 18 years old. So it's a very, very important place for me. And so I donate 10% of every sale to the Children's Hospital LA Liver Care Department that I was a part of, or they took care of me.
This is so meaningful, and I'm so happy to hear you're doing something that benefits the community and benefits others. I mean, that's so important.
Yes.
Tell me what your future plans are. Trying to work for the community, trying to increase the business. What your future plans are?
Right now we're focused on scaling the business. I have 2 part-time employees, and they've been on the truck with me for the past year and a half, and I feel like I've done a great job of sharing what the values are of the business. And I got them now going and doing the jobs by themselves. And so I'm just going to continue making networking friends. We've been referral based for the past 2 years. So we don't do any paid advertising. I feel like our current trajectory, it's going to be good for us. But going back to like our why, what really is like motivating me, it's a strong purpose. Like, I'm not driven by money. That's not why I'm in business. But going through the transplant journey and how I struggled with paying the medical bills and keeping the health insurance going. If I can grow LA Trash Junkers to the point where we're able to kind of take that financial burden off of one family and just let them focus on, their loved one and providing the care that the loved one needs, then I'll know that this was all worth it. And that I'll truly be successful when I can do that. And ultimately, that's the goal, the vision that I have for like LA Trash Junkers is just to be a pillar of the community and a force for good. Hopefully, I can just like continue to help families. And I wake up, I jump out of bed every morning, and I don't see this as work. I see this just as like my life's purpose.
This is so wonderful. And when you say grow the business, are you planning to grow it geographically beyond LA, or let's start with currently, what's your geographical boundaries?
So right now we're doing a lot of work for attorneys and fiduciaries. So because we're referral based, it's pretty much wherever their properties are at. Okay. So as long as it's like a larger clean out, we've been able to help from Canoga Park to Riverside, Torrance, Long Beach, and like.
So you can go anywhere in Southern California and you can do the clean outs for them.
For the most part, we can, and if for whatever reason we can't, we're able to direct them to like trusted other companies in those areas that can help out.
And typically, this kind of clean outs, how long does it take?
One time we did a job where we did 10 loads in one day.
Wow!
So it just depends on how fast the family wants it to be done, how fast it needs to be done, and we can bring in more employees to make that go faster.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And then depending on the scope of work too, we work with a fiduciary mindset. So we do what's best for the families. We're able to go into like properties that are full of items, even like hoarded situations. And as we come across valuables and sentimental items, we set it aside for the fiduciary, family, the attorney.
So you catalog them for the family and the attorneys for them to review whatever there is.
Yes, we can tailor the clean out to whatever the fiduciary attorney needs. I really see us as we're here to support them.
Okay.
And just really help them with the clean outs and whatever they need.
Yeah. So who actually hires you? Is it the attorneys who hire you or the family? Who hires you?
Both.
Both.
Yeah. Sometimes it's families. Sometimes it's people who inherited a property and they don't know where to start. Sometimes it's the attorneys who are in charge or the fiduciary who's in charge of the estate. So it varies from job to job.
Okay. And so if somebody were to hire your services.
If you're ever in need of a property clean out service, you can contact us at 562-262-9978. You can also go to our website, www.latrashjunkers.com, and give us a call. We're always happy to answer your questions and see how we can help you out with whatever situation you may have.
Yeah, we like to say that we're stress-free and non-judgmental. We treat every job with respect, every family with respect, and we do our best to keep everybody happy and stress-free.
I think that's very important, particularly when you're cleaning their trash and things like that, non-judgmental. Because people do collect things and sometimes they're not very proud about it, or sometimes they're not proud of how their homes are. So that's very important. So thank you for highlighting that.
Of course.
And thank you for being on our show. It is so wonderful to have you both on our show. Megan and Xavier, thank you both for coming on our podcast.
Well, thanks for having us, Sam.
Thank you.